Welcome. This is Zangler, the Tesla Semi Advocate, bringing you another episode of the Giga Semi Tesla High Volume Semi Factory construction video. This video was shot on Tuesday, July 8th in the afternoon, and the title of this video is This is Huge. And stay tuned, there's three main discoveries, and it may turn out that title is a little bit hyperbolic, and I did a lot of research, a fair amount of research before publishing this video almost a day later, because I wanted to try to get some background on some equipment I saw being assembled, and we'll see that last. So my confidence level is pretty high that I've identified the company and the use of this equipment, of this new production equipment that I see them, that I caught them assembling on the outside of the building. Another notable is that after several weeks, the American flag is back and flying proud. That little area right there, the northwest corner, that area to me has been built out more. It's got one of those storage tanks here that's either for solvent or water. And the big question to me is, this looks like a mini version of the battery cell manufacturing announcement and building at the nearby LFP cell production factory. And the big question is, are they going to actually build battery cells and battery packs here at this factory for the Semi? And I've waffled back and forth. My current leaning is that they would, because they can, they have the know-how, and they love to co-locate all production to lower transportation costs and for efficiencies. Raw materials come in one side of the building and semis go out the other. So the raw materials could be coming in the western side of the building, where the stamping building and potentially a battery cell and battery pack production will take place, and that'll be fed down the line to the body in white and the eventual end of the line at the east end, where they'll come out and possibly get a charge. One of the other big things I noticed when I got here was erosion control. Quite a bit of some serious erosion control work is being done. I noticed as I drove up that a dozer had cut a road at the base, at the far north perimeter of the Tesla property, at the very base of that grade. And as I watched what they were doing, and you'll see this loader brings rock over and around, and what I think they're doing is they're building a riprap rock base to retain the rest of the erosion control rock that will be placed by the excavator. While I was here, that excavator switched buckets to that compression roller, and then back to a standard bucket for actually, I didn't see him place any rock. All I saw him was pound sand, so to speak. In other words, he was preparing the grade for eventual rock placement. And as you can see, the rock placement up at the top left, and much of it had already been done months ago, so they saved this part for last. One of the things I like to do is to follow a particular piece of equipment and see exactly what he's doing. You can see a grader up at the top. There's a lot of gravel being placed in preparation for the next phase of asphalt paving, but you'll see that this loader picks up that rock from the rock pile that is being brought in by end dump trucks which I did see before I flew the drone. I saw a side dump truck drop some of this big riprap rock, and then that grader or that loader tidied them up and pushed them into a big pile on one end, and then it's pulling the east end and it's taking the rock from the west end. So I just stuck with the loader and pretty much knew what he was doing at this point, but wanted to finish the shot before moving on to take a look at the next most interesting thing, which was the Megacharger progress, which we'll get to as soon as this portion of today's episode is complete. You can see that roller compactor device being used by the excavator, and you can see eventually what this will look like with that all of that riprap rock placed for erosion control. I know I've said it dozens of times, but even though this is the high desert and in a rain shadow, certainly not a wind shadow. We get more than our share of wind, but we're in a rain shadow. But occasionally we get deluges that produce floods and high amounts of erosion, a lot of water at a short period of time. So they have to build this factory to handle the 5%, 2% condition. That parking lot at the top is new, and there's actually a shuttle bus shelter right there, and they're running continuous shuttles to possibly to the LFP factory. This just dawned on me as I drove up, and in a separate video I'll post, that there is so much going on at that LFP recently announced LFP cell manufacturing facility across the street and slightly west of the prototype pilot semi-production building at 550 Milan. And there's a massive amount of work going on there, as indicated by the parking situation. There are vehicles littered, there are construction contractor worker vehicles littered up and down Milan. They've built another parking lot at the bottom of the road, and then this one here probably, come to think of it, probably is shuttling people down to the LFP factory. So now we're going to zoom in. This is the northeast corner, and we're going to go in and take a look at what's happening at the Megacharger and see what kind of progress we have. As you can see, they've completely filled in the excavation, and all of the conduit and electrical wiring is in place, and they're spreading out. They've got the geotextile there. They're spreading out the gravel, and I don't think it'll be very long before the asphalt paving commences. You'll see that 2 of the light posts have been placed, and you can see where they'll be placing more. 1 light post above every Megacharger, and based on my calculations, there'll be 2 cabinets, and then of course, huge amount of electrical panel to supply that. Kind of looking around to see if we see any factory assembly line material or equipment being delivered. And that's just going to take some good luck to happen to fly more. And related to that, I didn't have high hopes for a lot of exciting footage when I came up here because of the fact that the factory is largely complete, the exterior of the factory, and all of the action is on the inside. So Dan Priestley and the Tesla Semi program, if you're listening, I sure would like a tour of the inside of the factory, and so that I can share that progress with the fair number of Tesla supporters and Tesla Semi specifically supporters who have been following along for a year and a half or more. You do see there is one big semi there with a heavy load semi that no doubt dropped off some perhaps assembly line equipment. Now we're just going to take a nice look around. That is the Tesla warehouse on wheels, and in the background is what I call the Panasonic warehouse on wheels, which if you know that the Giga Semi is built on what was a large gravel warehouse on wheels. I did come by here at night after the Redwood Energy event, and came by with the specific intent of seeing if they've illuminated all of those exterior lampposts, and they have not. At least they had not as of 10 days ago or so. I, along with others, are a little perplexed by the kind of slow pace of putting up these wall panels. That right there is almost the same as it was 3-4 days ago when I last flew. And what I mean is that far south elevated section, stamping section right there. You see they're working on it there, but the left end where the stylized gray and white meet isn't much different than it was when we last flew. And I know for a fact they have the ability, even though this is an elevated section, they've shown the ability to complete that extremely quickly. They do have all the raw materials. The wall panels are there on the right, and right there you can see some positioned, and you can see the telehandler with the special attachment that is lifting them. So it looks like they've started up again after a pause, and maybe now they'll spring into Tesla speed and finish that wall, that southwest corner by the time we fly again. Now we're getting into the huge breaking news, and we are about to see. And by the way, I don't know if I almost missed it, but as I've mentioned, looking in the small viewer as I'm flying the drone, you can easily miss some of the detail, and I've been known to fly something pretty monumental and not notice it until later. There is the huge news. That is a piece of equipment from Griffin Industries, and it has the beautiful Griffin logo. The Griffin is a legendary creature with the body of a lion and the head and wings of an eagle. And at first I thought this could be dryers used in EV cell production. But I'm glad I did further research, because I would have had to open my mouth to change feet, because it is in fact almost certainly Griffin Industries, a company that produces machined casting prototype manufacturing equipment. So what that means, the prototyping kind of caught me. But this allows a company to create prototype castings and dial them in before moving to high volume construction. Some of the products they make are rack and pinion steering that they can help you make are both iron and aluminum machine castings, and those include rack and pinion steering arms, automotive electrical enclosures, where inverters and battery management systems would go, hydraulic valve bodies, steering knuckles, and the like. So anyways, let's geek out here on Griffin Industries. I know that at Giga, Texas, they've assembled very large production equipment outside and used sort of an overhead crane to move that assembled equipment to the inside. As always, I welcome any viewers that have more background, color, or experience with Griffin Industries and with prototype casting machinery. Looks to me like that's all going to be assembled together. And here is here's one of the pieces of equipment that we actually can see in action actually on my second flight. I came when the battery ran out and I returned to home. I went up and got a little bit more video of this to catch some of the footage of them actually assembling this equipment. While we're looking at this, and I'm doing my best to, at 9x zoom, get some decent footage, let's go back to the conversation about will Tesla build battery cells and battery packs right here in this building? I think it's safe to say that the LFP building LFP batteries are not applicable, and that those are, as we've all suspected, will be used for Megacharger and power walls for stationary battery storage. And they would definitely want to use more, non-LFP batteries for the Tesla Semi, like they currently use. Anyway, let me know what you think. If you think they're going to build battery cells and battery packs here, and if that equipment at the beginning of the flight at the northwest corner looks to be battery cell manufacturing equipment, and I can say it's very similar to what's over at the LFP factory, but that LFP factory has many more dryers, many more, a lot more external equipment than is here. And I would think that they need to build quite a few batteries to support 50,000 a year. Could be that that's just phase one, and that they'll build another similar pad with similar equipment in the future. We're going to go over and take a look at just what I was talking about. This right here. Is this for battery cell production? If not, what else could it be? That tank has been recently placed, and it looks like there's room for the other three on that pad. The American flag is back. And this is the initial return to home. You'll see that Milan twin, pop-up concrete wall building going up quite quickly. And where that white water tank and my midnight silver metallic Model S Plaid is parked, it will be another one. And I imagine that, it'll be, I don't know, it could be as soon as a month or two, and they'll start the process of building the second of the Milan twins, in which case I'll have to find a new place to fly. So it's over 100 degrees, and you can see I've got my my summer drone equipment gear on. You can see the shadow of the drone landing, and I've got my camera out, ostensibly to take pictures of this landing, but there was nothing worth using. There's the summer equipment. I did a drive-by, flyby. There you can see a water truck watering down that gravel. You can see the pile of rock I talked about, and that loader is moving the delivery of a bunch of rocks from a side dump truck that sort of pulled up at an angle, dumped its load, and took off. The loader is moving all those rocks and to make room for the next delivery. So a bunch of rocks being placed right here, and then immediately being dropped into place to continue this rip-rap erosion control. Thanks for joining.